I feel like failure is one of those emotions that we all experience, but for some reason, everyone feels is unique to them. A couple of you might have watched my last video where I shared one of my greatest wins in the year 2021. But what you might not know is that in that same 2021, there were also a lot of things that I did not win. And one thing that I just came to understand is the fact that it is very easy for us to look at people on the internet that seem to be doing well, that seem to be getting so many wins, and start to consciously or unconsciously compare ourselves to them. And then we see them getting one win and we just feel like, oh, this person's life is a lot better than mine. This person is getting so many things that I want to have as well. Which is why I decided that in today's video, I'm not going to be sharing a win, but I'm going to be sharing a time that I failed a contest, not once, but twice. So first off, writing is something that has always come naturally to me. Right from when I was as young as 5, I've started to write stories. I've always enjoyed writing stories. I was that girl in secondary school that had a diary that she wrote in every day and had countless notebooks that she was always writing one story or the other. And it has always been one of my dreams to win a writing competition. So I remember even when I was in secondary school, I was scroll through the internet looking for writing competitions for secondary school students, writing competitions for females. So it was always one of my dreams to win a big writing competition someday. And after I got saved, I decided that I was going to use my writing gift to write stories that would draw people closer to God and make them really understand who God is. And so imagine my pleasant surprise when I came across a Christian writing competition in the year 2020. And the beautiful part about it was that the whole goal of the competition was to encourage Christian writers and of course write stories that would draw people closer to God. So it was a win-win for me. This was a chance for me to use my talents to glorify God and as well win a prize that was worth hundreds of thousands of naira. So when the competition finally opened, I made up my mind that I was going to submit an entry. And when I saw the theme, I felt like there was a tendency for most people to take a generic approach in writing a story that fits that theme. But I decided I was going to take a more creative approach that I just felt no one else will go in that direction. So I wrote my entry. I think I showed it to like 1 or 2 friends to just, give me their thoughts and all of that about it. I think they gave me some suggestions and I made the edits and I submitted my entry. About a month later, the shortlist of this competition came out and guess what? I was one of the top 15 people that were selected as the shortlisters. So I was really happy when I saw it, but at the same time I was just like, it was expected. So the final winners were going to be announced 1 week after the shortlist was released. So it was going to be happening in a virtual awards night that was going to be hosted on Zoom. Mind you, this was 2020. And let me tell you something, that 1 week was the longest week of my life. I would literally wake up every single morning and check my calendar. Okay, 5 days to go. Oh, 4 days to go. 3 days to go, 2 days to go, till the very last day. So that day, I could not do anything else. Throughout that day, all that was on my mind was this contest. And another thing that I didn't really emphasize earlier was the fact that there was going to be a cash prize for the winner of this competition. And at that point, there was something that I really wanted to get and it was beyond my reach at that point. And I just felt like if I was able to win this competition, I'll be able to use the money I win to pay for this thing. So that day, around 8 p.m. or so, I logged into the Zoom room and then it started. So first of all, they did this whole speech, they did some performances, and throughout all that period, what was on my mind was, let's get to the matter of the day, let's get to why we're here. And if you know me, I'm a go-getter. I don't just want to be one of the winners, I want to be the winner. So I wasn't even hoping to get the 3rd or 2nd runner-up. I was aiming for that first position, for that first prize. And so when they announced the 3rd runner-up and it wasn't me, I was like, well, that's fine. I didn't want to be the 3rd runner-up. Then they announced the 2nd runner-up and I'm like, okay, it's not me, that's fine. And then it was time to announce the winner. And at this point, my heart rate had tripled because it was either I win or I didn't win. And of course, since it was time for the final winner, the person that was announcing decided to go off this long tangent talking about their entry and all of that, just to increase the suspense. And so this person started talking about how, this person used a whole different approach to writing their entry and that all the judges agreed that, this was actually the best entry. And then when she said a creative approach, when she said, this is different from what most people did. In my mind, I just felt, no, this has to be my entry. Oh my god, I'm the winner of this competition. I think at this point I started jumping in my room. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I won this thing, I won this thing. And lo and behold, they announced the winner, and it was not me. I can't even tell you how I felt that night. I think I even cried. I was just like, wait, so it was not me, so I didn't win. And it was now then that I even started to think that, wait, was my story that bad? So I wasn't the winner, but then I wasn't the second runner-up. I still wasn't the third runner-up. Let me even be very honest here. After the awards night, they eventually uploaded the stories of those that won. And I remember reading through their stories and just feeling like, wait, so what exactly did these people write that is so good, that makes it better than my own entry? I was really sad and I was disappointed because I just felt like my entry was, good enough for me to win. But at the same time, I just still felt like, the fact that I was one of the shortlisters, the fact that I was one of the top 15 out of almost 1,000 entries that came in, just, still gave me that reassurance that I actually can write. And even though I didn't win, I'm going to try again the next time. So fast forward to almost a year later, in 2021, the competition was opening again to the general public. This time, I was determined that I was not going to lose again. So of course, when the competition opened, I made up my mind to submit an entry again. And then I wrote an entry. I showed one or two of my friends. They gave me some suggestions and I put it into my entry and I submitted it. Then for some reason, I think there were some hitches in the second edition. So it took a longer time before the shortlist came out. But then when the shortlist came out again, guess what? I was one of the top 20. At this point, I'm like, okay, we're getting there. I was really excited again because I was able to make the shortlist again. So in the same way, there was 1 week before the winners were going to be announced. And again, that week was so long. I remember at this point, I even started to have dreams about the competition. I started to have dreams about the awards night. And it was just a very weird experience during that period. And then the final day, the D-Day came. And that day, around 2 p.m., if I'm not mistaken, I got a call. And then the person on the line was like, oh, hi, I'm calling from so and so. And so the person mentioned the name of the people that were organizing this contest. And then the person was like, oh, I just wanted to confirm if we're going to be around for the virtual awards this night. And in my mind, I'm like, what kind of question is that? Why won't I be around? Of course I will be around. So I just told her yes. And then she was like, oh, looking forward to seeing you, and all of that. And so when she got the call, I just started to think, okay, they called me. Does that mean I'm the winner? That was the only logical explanation I could come up with. I just felt, since the last time I was shortlisted, I didn't receive any call. So this time, the fact that I'm receiving a call must mean that I'm one of the winners. And they don't want it to be that they announce the winner or they announce one of the winners and then the person is not around. So they just wanted to confirm beforehand that the winners were going to be attending. And if you remember in my last video, the time I won that scholarship, I also got a call. So in my mind, I just felt like this must be a good sign. This must be a sign that I'm winning. But then at the same time, I was still like, okay, or could it just be that they decided this year to call all the shortlisters? So I really did not know, but a greater part of my mind just felt like I have to be one of the winners. Even if I'm not the first, maybe I'm the second or the third runner-up. And with that enthusiasm and eagerness, I logged in again to the Zoom room for the award. And they did the whole speech and all before they eventually got into the matter of the day. So again, they announced the third runner-up. It wasn't me. They announced the second runner-up. It wasn't me. And at this point, I'm like, they called me, so I have to be the first. And then they called the winner. And my brothers and sisters in Christ, it still wasn't me. This time, I wasn't even just feeling sadness that I didn't win. I actually felt anger because I just felt, wait, so why did you guys even call me in the first place? Why did you raise my expectation that day, I actually just had to talk to myself that, wait, Fayo, calm down. There is no reason for you to be getting angry over this. And I'm telling you, it wasn't easy, but I was eventually able to let it go. And it was so painful to me because I just felt like the second time I had to win. And especially after I got the call, I had already started to practice how I was going to film a video and talk about how, I failed this competition and then I applied for it again and I won. I was ready to come and give you guys some aspire to Maguire. But my plan did not work because I did not win. But I feel like that experience actually still taught me something, because it just made me realize that life is not always going to happen the way you want it to. Life is not always going to happen the way you expect it to. But it also now made me to realize something. As believers, we understand that our happiness, our joy is not derived from the abundance of our possessions or our wins or things like that. But it is in moments like this that such convictions are actually tested, because now our true self is exposed. We actually now start to see if our happiness and our joy is not derived from earthly things. Because at that instant that it happened, I just felt really, really bad. I just felt really angry. But of course, I said I was able to get out of that space of mind and bring myself back to the fact that my joy was never tied to winning this competition. So even if I win it and even if I don't win it, I'm not going to lose my joy and I'm not going to lose my happiness. Trust me, it wasn't easy, but it was something that God was able to help me to come out of. And then again, one thing that I also learned from the whole experience was just coming to understand that in life, failure is inevitable. You're going to win some and you're going to lose some. But then the fact that you lose does not make you a failure. There is a difference between losing something or failing something and being a failure yourself. And at that point, I just had to reassure my mind again that, Fayo, you are not a failure. You might have failed, you might have lost this competition, but you are not a failure. And let me even tell you, if I see another competition out there, am I going to go for it? Definitely. I'm not going to hold back because I feel like I've lost before. I'm not going to doubt my writing abilities. I'm not going to doubt the gifts and talents that God has placed into me just because I lost something twice. And so you might be watching this and perhaps you are dealing through a series of rejections. Perhaps you have been sending letters, sending mails, sending applications, and it just feels like you're just getting no's. Or some of them are not even responding at all. I just want to let you know that the mindset of a winner is that whenever they fall, they dust themselves and get back up again. They don't let their losses stop them. And I just also want to give this reminder that never let your happiness be based on those things. Even in the moment where you are expectant, where you are waiting for those responses, your joy is not tied down. Your joy is not dependent on those circumstances, but that your joy is always found in Christ. Your joy is always found in the fact that Jesus is enough for you. So even when you win countless competitions and even when you lose countless competitions, your joy, your peace, and your happiness never shifts. Of course, you're going to be happy when you win, right? Nobody is denying that, but you see, you must not let it be the only basis for your happiness. So keep on keeping on, keep on pushing, keep on trusting God, keep on growing your faith, keep on getting better, keep on honing your skills, and keep on growing to become an even better version of yourself. I really hope you found some encouragement from this video. I hope you were able to pick a thing or two. If you really enjoyed the video, I would love if you could share it with a friend or two. Let them know the goodness that is Fayo Sanwo's YouTube channel. So thank you for watching. I really enjoyed filming this. Until my next video. Bye.